Hey, we're jumping right into it today because Tony Baloney is recovering from an awesome weekend, which he's going to tell us all about. I'm looking forward to it.
Ah, oh my God. It's hysterical stuff I've seen and oh yeah, it was crazy. Really crazy. Well, you did your fair share of partying when you were in Holland. And
You're
we went
right.
to Lowlands together, as you know.
Oh my
Yeah.
gosh. Well, I did
Yeah.
Lowlands. I did Lowlands more than once, and several things struck me right away about it. First of all, the sheer scope and size of it was something
Yeah.
that would easily rival state fairs and gigantic festivals anywhere else in the world.
Yeah.
And I love the fact that once they have the final numbers, they post those on big, huge placards. And it tells you, this year we had a temporary city for 4 days of 67,000 people or 72. And and the other thing that struck
Yeah.
me the other thing that struck me, and I know you're going to dive into this, and I'm looking forward to it. I know others are as well. Is
Mm.
the designers and creators of this festival apparently knew how not to reinvent the wheel. They basically created this space out of farmland and set everything up,
Yeah.
and then they turned the animals loose, knowing that they would be well behaved. And I think that is a phenomenal thing.
Yeah, it is. And a little side story about that is it didn't came out of nothing. It evolved, of course, but it came from the party scene way back in the 90s. That's when the whole phenomena of getting this parties going, and most of the time it was illegal here in the Netherlands, at least.
Right.
And yeah, so there were a couple of enthusiasts. Most of the time they were like a couple of friends, and they go like, "Oh, let's do this festival, let's get these parties." And just go to remote places, and then we'll set up a DJ, and we'll put in some lighting and stuff like that, and have drinks, all that stuff. And then they did it through word of mouth, and people started coming in, and yet, of course, you had the cell phones. People started texting each other and going like, "Hey, there's an illegal party going there," and so and so. And that's kind of how it all got started. And especially in the Netherlands, as far as I know, is where the whole party culture kind of grew into this what you have nowadays.
You
And this
mentioned
whole concept traveled all around the world, but
you you
it
mentioned
originated in the Netherlands.
yeah, and you mentioned that it
Yeah.
it it goes back much further than I had ever imagined. Can
Oh
can you
yeah.
provide more detail and story on that?
Like and how it started?
Hmm. Well,
Well,
just the
okay.
idea of the music festival, the gathering itself, we were talking, you mentioned this
Mm.
going back a couple of centuries, and I think that's phenomenal.
No, no, a couple of decades. Yeah.
Oh, well, more than a couple of decades, but um I
Mm.
you know, I think about because we mentioned off the air when we were talking about
Mm.
this, the the
Mm.
the famous and very failed Woodstock 99. And when
Oh.
you look at these events that are happening on this side of the pond, they're frequently money grabs. And I think that's unfortunate because some people realize if you just
Mm.
get people to the event, they're going to spend money. But
Yeah.
some of these places want to charge you to park. They want to charge you admission to get in. They want to charge you a service fee to buy the coins where you can buy food and drink and whatever. And you wind up spending more
Mm.
money than you would if you went to a theme park like Disney or Universal or Six Flags. And I think that that kind of thing is absurd. The thing that stands
Yeah.
out to me, and the thing that I remember the very first time I went to Lowlands, I remember discovering, oh, you've run out of money, walk around and pick up cups, turn in cups, and for
Yeah.
every 10 cups you turn in, you get a munt, you get a little wooden coin that's good for
Yeah.
drink. And
Right.
I found I could use those for drinks, I could use them for food. I it it
Yeah.
it was brilliant. And you'll never, and I'm open to being corrected if anyone listening or watching says, "Oh, actually,
Yeah.
this show does that," but I've never seen that happen in any American venue, any American get together. Everything is always about how can we monetize every step of the way, and I think
Yeah.
it's a terrible mindset. I mean,
Yeah.
maybe it's the
Yeah.
American way and it's capitalism alive and well, but I think it's short-sighted.
Yeah, it is. And the whole thing with the cups and everything, it all started out with a environmental point of view. That's how it started. Because in the yeah, just about 10, 15 years ago, the whole topic of being environmentally friendly became a very big thing, a very socially demanded thing, if you know what I'm saying.
I do.
Uh, Yeah, and and also the festivals were notorious for having a lot of waste with
Yes.
plastic cups, with beer and stuff like that. So they introduced this whole system with, you know what, if you have your cup, you save it, and they give you at the entrance right now. How they do it is they give you a free coin for one beer, and then you save the cup, and if you go for your next beer, they will give you the next cup for free. So you put the cup
Isn't that
back.
amazing?
So you have a free beer every time.
Yep.
Not every time, but the first time. And then so they incentivize
They
you. Is that the
incentivize it.
correct way?
Yeah.
Yeah. They make you give back the cups. So
Yeah.
that what happens is there's no waste, never, nowhere. It's amazing. Every time, everything is clean,
So
always. Also, you have these little kids of uh, the guys with not a lot of guys and girls who come on a small budget. You see them picking up the cups that other people don't care about. Like, fuck it, I don't care. You always have those people, but then all the other people who come in on a slow budget, they pick up the cups. That's a brilliant thing.
I
So it
agree.
works like crazy.
I
Yeah.
agree. I
And yeah,
agree.
exactly.
Yeah,
Take
I
a side.
knew. I also remember you were there the year we went
Mm,
with Larry. I mean, a whole bunch of us went, and at one point, Joan started collecting cups so that
right.
we could all get coins, and she had gotten to a point where she looked like she was carrying a bazooka, and people would see
Yeah.
her collection of cups and walk up and hand her a cup. And
Yeah.
I thought that was phenomenal. And you see that kind of thing, and I've shared this with people before.
Mm,
There's very little room for waste in the Netherlands, and there's two reasons for that.
mm,
You don't have very much room for landfills, but you also recognize the importance of recycling, whether
mm.
we're talking about cardboard or bottles for
Yeah.
water or beer or what have you. And unfortunately, here in the United States, we don't have that mindset, and we only have it in certain areas of the country. And
Yeah.
unfortunately, people politicize that and say, well, that's a liberal thing, and it should not be thought of that way at all,
Nee.
because we have the tallest mountains in the state of Florida, for example, are manufactured. They're landfills, and they're massive. They are massive.
Yeah.
you can see them from miles away. And
exactly.
you see the lip service of waste management companies providing containers for recycling, for paper and
Yeah.
cardboard and for glass and plastic, but then you watch the waste management vehicles come through and they dump everything into the same hopper as the trash goes.
Yeah,
And
that happens here as well.
then you see, and it, well,
Yeah.
it doesn't, uh, uh, das
Mm.
hat nergens op.
Nee,
It
nee,
makes
makes
no
no
sense.
sense.
And
No.
but going back to the festival, another thing that you're gonna share with us and our loyal and ever-growing audience of viewers and listeners is how, the first time we went to
Oh,
Lowlands,
yeah,
we showed up, we went to the rave tent, we partied until and danced until 5:30 in the morning, and then we go staggering back to the tent to sleep for 2 hours, and then we're up to do it again for
absolutely.
another 18 to
Yeah.
20 hours.
Oh
Now
my
that we're a
God.
little older, my handsome friend.
Yes. Yes, that doesn't really happen anymore. I feel, you know, I still hang in there for a couple of hours, but no, it's around the 3 o'clock or something. I have to go and get some sleep, and then return to the festival area at around about like 4 or 5 o'clock in the afternoon,
Oh
and
my
then
gosh, that's a
I'll
stu
do it the same again. Yeah, yeah,
and
I have to.
and
Yeah, I
and
can't
by
do it.
4 or 5 o'clock in the afternoon at
Yeah,
Lowlands back in the day, we would have already been awake for 10 to 12 hours.
right, and wasted as
Oh
well.
yeah. Well, and
And that's also,
that's a good thing that you bring up.
oh my God.
What do you do now to pace yourself? What do you do now to make sure you have the energy to and staying power to at least go till 2 or 3 in the morning? Do you alternate between a beer and a water? Do you take B complex vitamins? Do
Yeah.
you snort cocaine off the belly of a stripper? What is it you do?
Not exactly of the belly of a stripper. No, cocaine is shit. I hate cocaine shit. Bah, no, no, I don't. I use some amphetamines, just a little bit, just to keep me going. That'll be
Right.
fine. And of course, we do the all-American drug as well, ecstasy sometimes,
Oh my
which is
gosh.
that. Yeah, well, it's an American invention, as you
I
might
know it
know.
is. I know it is.
You know it
Yeah.
is. Maybe, yeah,
Yeah.
well, maybe the audience doesn't know. Maybe we can enlighten
Ecstasy,
them.
McDonald's, and Levi jeans. You're welcome.
Yeah, and maybe a lot of people don't know this, but ecstasy was invented as a military interrogation drug to make people feel comfortable. It's all. Ever heard about a truth serum?
Yeah, oh,
There you
yeah.
go.
Yep.
That's what it is.
Oh,
That's what it
the
is.
US
Yeah.
military experimented on its own soldiers,
Yeah.
experimented. This was very famous, I think, in the 50s or 60s in the subways of New York. They experimented with vertigo as a control agent by
Yeah.
causing the
Yeah.
lights in the subways to flicker and alternating how they flickered to see what kind of impact they could have on people.
Yeah. Right. Now, the funny thing is also the inventor of ecstasy, or MDMA,
Yep,
the active ingredient of
yep.
ecstasy, of course. This guy he was a college professor,
Yeah, he
and
was a
he
scientist.
was a scientist. And the funny thing is about it is that not everybody knows this, but when he started experimenting with the formulas, or the composition of the elements to make it to create MDMA,
Hmm.
he when he concocted something else or something new, he would invite all his friends,
Right.
and they had to sit in at home, and they all took that stuff, and
It
then
was a
they
cooking
listen.
party. It was a cooking
Right.
party. And
Yeah. And
what's
they would listen to classical music, and they would do it on
well,
a scientific
you
way,
know,
and they do all
what's
the evaluation of the whole
what's fascinating
experience.
what's
Yeah.
fascinating now about this, and I know you know this, is recently, probably in the past few years, there have been some carefully controlled research taking place regarding
I know.
LSD and
I
how it
know.
helps
Oh,
people
LSD. I know.
manage with a host of things from stress to cancer. And it's the same thing. I don't get into this battle with people over, marijuana being a devil drug. And because, I have a friend of mine who's Native American, he's Cherokee, and he laughed
Uh,
about it. And he goes, man created alcohol and, the great God
right.
created marijuana. So which one do you want? And we've had this talk
That's
before,
pretty funny.
the
Yes.
the
Yeah.
the argument is one grows as a plant out of the
Yeah.
ground and the other comes from plants and is manufactured by hand. And I find that whole thing very fascinating. And I find how we're
Yeah.
we're still willing to argue over things that have already been sorted out.
Right. It's completely laughable because every week there are a thousand, tens, hundreds of thousands of people worldwide are dying from using alcohol, and it's legally available for in a lot of countries, and
The
everybody knows this, but everybody seems to ignore the whole fact that
well,
the alcohol
I
is much more dangerous.
there's a social
That's pretty
aspect.
funny.
There's a social
Yeah.
aspect to it as well. And I remember listening to someone who once said to me, we're having a conversation, and he goes, you don't see
Yeah.
someone after smoking a couple of joints standing up and go, come on, let's fight. I'm ready to. If anything, if anything, they lean into you and they go,
Exactly.
I love you, man. I'm so thankful you're
Oh
my,
yeah.
oh man, I love you.
Yeah. Well, the same thing is with MDMA and ecstasy as well. Everybody starts loving people.
Yeah,
It's really the craziest things, because what you normally wouldn't do is hug another guy, a complete stranger.
right.
Look at each other. You go like, "Oh, I had such a good time, man. Yeah, I
Yeah.
love it too. Yeah, give me a hug,
And
man. Yeah,
you know what?
yeah,
I
it's really
think
funny.
this just
Uh,
reminds me
yeah,
at the heart of the word gezelligheid. I think it
yeah,
is all of that energy, all of that mana, that positive, supernatural, incredible, wonderful, warm, enveloping, hugging
yeah.
energy without the drugs. That
Right.
the gezelligheid by itself is all of that energy.
It is, of course.
Yeah.
And then
Well, I
MDMA
I I just I
enhances
just
it.
realized because it to say bedankt for the gezelligheid is like thanks for the good time really diminishes what gezelligheid is. If you can if you're listening or watching and you go to a place and you hang out with people and you have the most enriching time ever and you're thinking, man, I don't want this to end. I know it's going to. How can I perpetuate this? How can I keep this going? What can I do to make this happen again? That is
Right,
gezelligheid.
right, right. It is absolutely true. On a little side note, I have to say it because otherwise it would be kind of like we're glorifying everything about the use of ecstasy or MDMA. Just like with alcohol, you have to pay a price once. That's how it goes, and that's how it is. I can't. You just can't deny it. There's a moment after using it, you go like, oh fuck, we should didn't do it. This is like the same if you have alcohol, you know what's happening. You know what's happening the day after you have this big hangover,
I
and it's the
don't
same with everything.
I don't
So
know
let's not.
anyone, myself included, in the history of consuming alcohol
Yeah,
who didn't repaint an alley wall or a floor or someone's shoes with the expunged contents of their stomach because they consumed too much and then said, I'm never doing that again. And then
right,
actually followed through on never doing it again. The reality
right.
is you forget we humans, not only in politics and religion, but in our own lives, have a very
Yeah,
short-term memory.
yes, we do. On the other hand, I must say, I never got sick in that way that I had to throw up.
Yeah.
Never from
Yeah.
XC or
No, I
whatever it
well,
is.
you know what, you get better. Here's a great example. A few years ago, I was at a bachelor party And it was exactly the kind of bachelor party that you would expect here in the United States at a strip club. And
Yay!
I hadn't seen a bunch of these people in a very long time, so my back was to the stage because I'm
Right,
talking to all these people and I had all these girls walking up asking if I wanted dances and like no. And a
right.
couple asked if I was
No,
gay because I wasn't watching them. And I said, I'm not gay. I think you're beautiful, but I haven't seen these people, some of them in 10 years. And they're buying friggin' shot after shot. And I have shots stacking up because
okay,
I can already tell these guys, some of them they've only been drinking an hour and I know they're gonna feel it. So like, okay, fine, I'm
right.
doing it. I do a shot and then I'd grab the next one. And when no one was looking, I throw the shot under the table onto the carpet and then slam that empty glass back. And I wound up for every shot and every drink I got, I dumped three of them on the floor.
Yeah,
I
very
mean,
smart.
I guarantee you, whoever had to clean the carpet that
Yeah,
night probably
yeah,
got over there and like, what the? Someone pissed under the table. No, I didn't
yeah.
pee under the table, but they were, it reminds me, I got a friend who does the Renaissance Festival circuit, and he does a show at the end of the day, every festival day. It's called the Adult Show. And
Right,
people are notorious, his fans are notorious for buying him beer. And by the end of the show, he'll have, this isn't an exaggeration, 35, 40 beers lined up along the front of his stage. So what
oh
he
my
has to
gosh.
do now is he'll have some people in the audience who he knows and he'll give them money. He goes, I need you to buy me an alcohol-free beer and put it here. And he'll have three or four people do that and he'll drink those beers because otherwise he's going to be, piss drunk puking in the middle of his show.
It won't work. Yeah, I know. Exactly. Oh yeah. Well, anyway, I had this hilarious thing happening to me over the weekend. I have to tell you this. I'm going to send you a picture.
Yes, please.
Uh, there was a girl walking up to me. It was like, I guess in her 40s or something like that. She was not a really young girl, but anyway, she kind of took a liking on me. I could tell. She walked up to me and she looked at me with her big Bambi eyes.
Oh
She was
boy.
laughing. Yeah, she was laughing and touchy-feely and going like, "Hey, how you doing? I'm fine, thank you. How are you? Yeah, I'm having such a good time." And I noticed her walking up to me barefooted. And well, it has been raining like crap all Friday. All Friday it was pouring down from dusk till dawn, from dawn till dusk. It was crazy. So much water. So the whole festival terrain was fucking soaked. And the weather turned okay. But anyway, of course, everything was wet and was stayed wet for the whole time, for the whole weekend. So anyway, it was yesterday. Yeah, it was yesterday evening. Anyway, so she walked up to me and she was walking barefoot through the mud because she apparently didn't have a pair of boots like I did. I bought a pair of rubber boots and I was
Yeah.
walking around in them the
Yeah.
whole weekend, but she didn't. So I noticed her walking barefoot, and when I look at her feet, she goes like, "Oh well, it seems like much more comfortable like this with not wearing soaked shoes and wet socks and everything." Okay, yeah, I guess you're right. She said, "Do you have a problem with dirty legs?" That's what she said to me. "Do you have a problem with dirty legs?" No, I don't care.
Oh my
And she
gosh.
grabbed this big full hand of mud, and she threw it at my legs. I was completely fucking drenched in mud. He started laughing, and I started laughing as well. It was really funny. So I thought she was referring to her own legs, of
Yeah,
course.
me too.
Uh,
Me too.
that
I
was
thought that,
funny.
yeah, I thought the next thing would be my tent is over here, but no, that's pretty,
Yeah, right.
that,
Exactly.
I think about, I remember, one of our trips to Lowlands, we're all walking along and a guy just kind of bananas towards the front of us and I'm wearing a kilt and he
Right.
reaches forward before I can say or respond or react. He reaches forward, lifts up the kilt and sees that, well, nothing under there
Oh,
is worn. And he nodded. and he handed me his beer and walked off. And I thought, what the heck is this, man? I should wear a kilt all the time. I'll never have to buy beer.
But also the fact that, can you imagine that happening in the States?
It would cause a fight.
Cause a fight, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, in the Netherlands, no. You know,
No.
some guy comes up
Well,
to you and he gives you a freaking hug. And
yeah,
the guy's like,
yeah.
"I love you, man. I love you." I said,
We
"Hey,
walked
really great, man.
we walked
That's
over to
really
one of the
funny."
rock we walked over to one of the rock climbing walls, and the one of the girls running the wall says, "You can climb the wall for free
Right,
because you're wearing a
right.
kilt." Ah, freaking love it, man.
Oh my God,
And
yeah, that's
and just to be clear for people listening and watching, and I've said this before, I imagined when I was coming to the Netherlands to live that I was going to encounter a lazy society where everybody sat
oh
around, smoked pot, drank beer, and had sex on the corner. And
yeah.
it turns out none of that is the
Of
case.
course not.
I mean, they're
Of course
they're
not.
they're having they're having more sex. The prostitutes in places like Spain and Portugal. It's not, I
Right.
mean, you don't even see that in Amsterdam because everything is heavily
Yeah.
regulated. But
Yeah.
it really, honestly, I can't look back at any of the visits, any of the trips, any of the camping flights to Lowlands and not smile. And I remember another thing, and maybe this festival is the same. On Monday, when everybody's packing up and leaving, not everybody's packing up. Some people leave and just leave their tents behind, and they leave their beds behind, and they leave the things they've
Yes,
built
they
behind.
do.
And if you want to
Yeah.
talk about the amount of waste produced on the festival site itself, holy crap.
It's crazy.
Yeah. Yeah, I thought,
It's
man, you can
nuts.
you can outfit an entire army with the number of tents left behind. I remember
Yeah,
taking a photo of that, and literally
I
I'm
know.
looking at the picture, and whoops, sorry about that, folks. As far as the eye can see, tents. And even some people had
Yeah.
brought wood and built friggin' semi-permanent
Yeah.
structures. Just crazy.
It is crazy. But also there's another thing that happens here in the Netherlands, because that thing is still going on, of course, that people are too fucked up or too lazy or don't want to don't want to bring all the stuff back home. And this is what they do. They go on Marktplaats. That's the other the Dutch equivalent of
Yes, yes,
eBay. eBay,
yes.
right? So what they do is they buy an old tent for like shitloads, nothing,
Yep.
and they just leave it there, just for the convenience of it. But
Yeah.
the funny thing is happening right now is that instead of the festival going like, well, you have to take your tent back, you can't leave it there, stuff like that. Now it's like everybody who wants to leave their shit, they leave it on one pile. So a kind of they go like, so they embrace the whole problem and go like, okay, if you don't want to take your shit, at least put it there. So there's a big pile of tent material, stuff like that, and they come with a big truck,
Yeah,
uh,
claw, scooped. You know,
a
it
claw,
it kind
yeah,
of
and
it
they take it
surprised
out. That
it surprises me as forward
yeah,
looking and as socially
yeah,
responsible and civilly responsible
yeah,
Netherlands is. It surprises me that the producers of that show and any others haven't thought, with all these tents, we can take them, clean them up, and then give them.
yeah, 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 yeah. That's yeah. Well, it's an awesome phenomenon, and we never got to talking about where it all originated. But there's a really big player in this trade in this world, and that's called IDTV. And maybe you can look it up if you want
Okay.
to. But these people are the ground. They laid the groundworks for the whole festival. Culture, so to say.
That's amazing.
And that is amazing, and they do a lot of different stuff still. And they sold their company to another party and made it fucking millions out of it.
Yo,
But
sure.
they developed the whole infrastructure and all the materials like the gates and the way to put in the facilities for washing and going to the bathroom and stuff
Yeah.
like that. Everything is taken care of and like really well organized. But it's also because of all the experience that they had. And every time they learn, they go like, "Oh, we did it like this time, so it didn't work. It worked, but not like it could have worked. Maybe we have to
Right.
do it like this and do that."
Yep.
So it's a whole evolution of knowledge that came about in the
Well,
last
they're
couple of
smart about it.
decades.
They learned from it.
It's really smart,
They built a
yeah.
book, and they
Right,
have that
right,
book to refer to and to edit.
right.
Yeah, it
And
was.
li listen, this is important because, of course, they make money out of it. That's important, but it's
Oh,
not
sure.
like not only making money, it's about improving your product
Yep.
and make it more accessible and better. And you can say everything you want and still make money. See the difference?
Oh,
That's the
sure.
big
Well,
thing.
you want
Yeah,
you're not going capitalist or not. You're not going to begrudge people making money. They need to make
right.
money. That's how companies stay viable and continue to offer their content and improve upon that content.
Exactly. Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
think it's a weird thing to say about a space like Lowlands, but it seems intentionally or not, they were also focused on creating a very safe space, creating a space where you knew
Yeah.
you'd go, you could hang out. It didn't matter what you looked like. It didn't matter what you wore, how you
Right.
dressed, how you spoke,
Yeah,
what part of the
of
world you
course.
came from. None of
Exactly.
that mattered. And
Right.
I would be hard pressed. I think maybe there's a couple of festivals like that, you know, but there's not very many of them. There's not very
No.
many of them.
And also Lowlands is also owned by the same company that I was referring to just a minute ago. And these guys are awesome. What they pulled off is really mind-blowing because they do it. This is the same the things that they developed and thought of. It goes throughout the whole world. Every everyone takes to the model of the Dutch festival
Right.
culture.
Well,
Yeah,
except for Woodstock 99. They
yeah,
obviously
yeah.
they had their own model and it failed spectacularly.
Right.
Um,
And and also why the atmosphere on the Dutch festival is very famous internationally. Dutch festivals because in the Netherlands our sexual revolution and it has all to do with that was in the 60s, the same as in the States,
sure.
but in the Netherlands it kept on developing the whole
Yeah.
sexual revolution,
Yep.
you
Yep.
know, and where it is in the United States, it's kind of stifled.
It
It like
has
it
it
yeah, like
it
the
has
famous
become
words you can't
an
say on TV.
yeah, it's become an evolution in the
Yeah,
Netherlands and it's become repressed in the
right,
States still.
right,
You
right.
you have the same politicians and religious leaders who condemn sex before marriage wind up being busted having coke parties with prostitutes in hotel rooms.
Yeah,
Not hyperbole, that actually happened. Here in Florida, big
yeah.
shock. Anyway, um, I really enjoyed this conversation. This was so much
Me
fun
too.
because
Yeah. We,
every time the word Lowlands comes out of my mouth, I have to smile.
you
And
have to smile. I do. Well, there's another one added to my list. That was this festival. It was my first time as well.
uh,
It's called Wildburg.
oh
Can
my
you imagine
gosh.
that?
Yeah.
Wildburg. It,
So
of course, in Dutch pronounced, of course, Wildeburg,
yeah,
but it's Wildburg. Can you imagine that? The guy from Elburg goes to Wildburg. They're having a blast. I was standing there with my 64 years old freaking body. I was standing there raving from 11 o'clock until 3.
Yep.
Oh, by the way, the next day they picked me up from the festival terrain because I had to go back to celebrate one of our friends because it was her birthday.
Boy, that is
I
moi.
was the oldest one. I was the oldest one still there. Yeah, I had a blast. It's crazy, but
All
now I'm
right.
all fucked up.
Well,
I'm
I
tired.
know where I'm going to be
Yeah.
when I join you next year at this time.
Oh my God, yeah. That was so cool.
So
Yeah,
nice.
it was a lot of fun. I had a great time. I really did.
I love
And
it.
of course I feel worn out and I have a hangover, but it all
Well,
worth it. I had a
you're
great
in
time.
luck. We're at
Yeah.
the end of this episode. So I'll save you the effort of saying, hey folks, if you are enjoying what you're seeing or listening to, click like and subscribe and tell your friends.
Yeah, I
Also
have
let us
another
know
one
if
added to this. This one we have to say, please leave a comment in the section
yes,
below
yes. And also if
because we
there's
really
stuff you
want to
wanna
know.
if there's
Yeah.
something you want us to talk about, a topic you want us to
Or
land
ask.
on, please let us know. And
Yeah.
also I'm gonna say, just because we talk about our experiences doesn't mean we're condemning or
Right.
condoning them. Us having a conversation about drugs and alcohol doesn't mean you should go marching right out to wherever you think a source might be. Just, be smart, exercise caution, be
Yeah.
practical, especially if you live in the United States, because sometimes
Oh yeah.
Americans can be fuckers.
And what is also really important, like if you drink or doing anything else, please do it with your
You're
friends,
with
the ones you
friends.
trust,
Always, always
the one, yeah,
have your tribe with you because they're going to take
yes,
care of you and look out for you.
yeah, exactly, the ones you
Yeah,
trust with your life.
yeah,
Those are the people that you want to do stuff like that with.
yep.
If you don't, you're in danger, of course, but separate thing,
I
like
agree.
smoking or drinking, whatever you do, stay safe.
Buddy system, people. Buddy system.
Yeah.
Leave us a comment. Let us know what you think. We appreciate you listening and paying attention. And well, as we always say, later. Thanks for joining us. And we need to hear more about what you think. So leave a comment. Don,
Cool. Yeah, man. That was great. Thank you.
see everybody later.
Later.